Brigitte Bardot is the epitome of French beauty and charisma. Despite her stunning looks, Bardot still faced the complexities of life. As her story teaches us, with an interview, Brigitte Bardot has once again captured everyone's attention at the age of 91. She has come forward to admit things we have suspected. What did she reveal about her deepest fears and her past? Learn the profound wisdom of a legendary actress whose life story is as interesting and varied as the roles she has played. Join us as we explore her life, which will leave you in awe. A challenging childhood. Brigitte Bardot spent her childhood in a peaceful suburb of Paris, where she lived in an apartment with 7 bedrooms. Nonetheless, this did not improve the quality of her upbringing. According to the biography written by Bardot Singer in 2013, Brigitte Bardot and her siblings were raised in a household atmosphere that was characterized by strictness, Catholicism, and traditional values, under the guidance of their parents, Louis Bardot and Anne-Marie Moussel. According to reports, they were the ones who decided what Brigitte and Mihanou were to wear daily and made sure that the girls wore the appropriate brands. It didn't matter how fortunate Brigitte was. She never stopped having the feeling that she wasn't good enough. Her feelings of loneliness and unlovedness persisted despite everything that had transpired. When it came to the people that his girls may bring over, Moussel was quite selective. As a result of the fact that Louis and Moussel slaughtered Brigitte's cherished rabbit, Noirot, and prepared it for supper, it is possible that this experience had a role in her choice to become an animal rights activist at a later point in her life. It became substantially more challenging for Brigitte to maintain a relationship with her parents as a result of the absence of emotional warmth within the family. In addition to the stringent limitations that were imposed on every household, this was also in place. Anne-Marie, Brigitte's mother, was lukewarm and demanding of her daughter. Her statements were not pleasant, and they were directed against her daughter's conduct and appearance. Brigitte struggled with poor self-esteem and the feeling that she was always falling short of things that were expected of her since she was always being criticized when she was a youngster. Additionally, the regimented nature of her upbringing had an impact on the way she interacted with other people. It was difficult for the Bardot sisters to develop meaningful relationships with youngsters who did not meet the stringent expectations that Brigitte's parents had established for them. As a result, Brigitte was left feeling isolated and alienated. The Bardot sisters' reluctance to engage in conversation with youngsters was the root cause of this situation. The anecdote that Brigitte related to Singer was about an event that occurred when she and Mihanou were joking about in their family apartment and accidentally made a vase break. Each of them received 20 beatings from her father as a form of discipline. On the other hand, the fact that Brigitte chose to neglect her 2 children and engage in psychological warfare rather than simply physically punishing them was the thing that caused her the most pain. The earlier physical punishment she had received was followed by this. This particular facet of the circumstance was the most distressing portion of the whole affair. The French pronoun vous was utilized by him and Moussel when they communicated with the 2 young girls. This pronoun is utilized in situations when individuals do not know one another or when they are formally acquainted with one another. The profound emotional gap that existed between Brigitte and her parents was brought to light by the linguistic barrier we faced. As a result of this, Brigitte experienced an even greater sense of estrangement from her parents and isolation in the world. During her formative years, she was unfortunately subjected to yet another unpleasant event, which was her time spent at the dancing academy. Even though she was only 13 years old, she got accepted to the famed Paris Conservatory. Nevertheless, the hostile climate was unquestionably hostile and aggressive from the beginning. After some time had gone, Brigitte recalled that her teachers had been quite critical of her, which was a factor that contributed to the problems with her self-esteem that she had acquired at home and that she had carried with her throughout her life. She felt unwanted and dissatisfied since she was under a lot of pressure and no one truly cared about her dancing. As a result, she was depressed. Even though these events had a significant impact on Brigitte, she eventually realized that her parents might have done a better job of raising her. During our conversation, I shared with her that her parents had provided me with a rigorous education that had the potential to provoke anger at times, but for which I would be eternally thankful. In Saint-Tropez, there is a museum that you may visit. The roles that Brigitte Bardot played as a French icon, model, and actress throughout the 1950s and 1960s are the ones that modern viewers would most often connect with her. She became well known in the fashion and glamour industries, where she is recognized for inventing new haircuts and fashions, including the bikini. She also became renowned in the world of fashion, rise to fame. Her career as an actor took off as she appeared in more and more films. The career of Brigitte Bardot was marked by 48 film appearances. The most famous of these films are A Private Life, her debut, God Created the Woman, and her other two features. Not only that, but God Made Woman. The film's director, Roger Vadim, had a marriage to Brigitte Bardot. As Juliette Hardy, Bardot showed off her acting chops and her obvious connection to the role. Hardy, a young lady with a free spirit, becomes the object of attraction for three different men. In addition to solidifying Bardot's status as an icon, the film opened the way for Hollywood to embrace more permissive sexual norms. The movie managed to achieve all of these goals. After finishing the role that changed her life, Bardot went on to build a successful career in both the commercial and critical arenas. Louis Malle directed her 1962 picture, A Private Life, in which she had a leading role, playing the role of Jill. Bardot drew inspiration from her own experiences as a star trying to cope with the invasive nature of fame. The movie highlighted the stresses and vulnerabilities of being the center of attention, which was a theme that deeply connected with Bardot's personal experiences of being the center of attention. Bardot was a leading lady in Jean-Luc Godard's 1963 masterpiece, The Despise, L'Emprise, widely regarded as one of the finest examples of French cinema. While filming was underway, Bardot cast herself as Camille Jabal, a lady whose marriage was in disarray. Her ability to evoke a range of feelings in her listeners has been demonstrated. The film itself mediates the relationship between cinematic art and commercial cinema via cinematography. The film acts as a mediator between the artistic and commercial spheres, and Bardot's complex portrayal of a disillusioned wife enriches the story. Bardot was able to further demonstrate her acting ability in 1965's Viva la Maria, in which she portrayed Jean Moreau. This action comedy was helmed by the legendary Louis Malle. The story unfolds in early 20th century Central America. The film featured Bardot and Moreau in the parts of revolutionary characters. There were a lot of film and fashion allusions in the movie, which contributed to its box office success. Brigitte Bardot's 1963 album, showcasing her singing prowess, was simply titled Sings. Bardot even tried to become a classical dancer for a long time. This is an underappreciated fact. She had an early and abiding fascination with this topic before she ever worked in the film industry. Brigitte Bardot has been given several titles, including a sexual kitten, the most photographed lady in the world, and Princess of the Puchero, among others. And God Created the Woman, a film that defied societal norms and sparked interest throughout the world when it was released in 1952, helped establish her as a globally known sexual icon. She became a sexual icon due to her stunning good looks, her seductive on-screen presence, and the film's release. Connected to the sexual revolution happening at the time, her disheveled blonde hair, captivating beauty, and unique style, along with her carefree and sexually explicit attitude on and off screen, led to women's emancipation. Throughout her career, Bardot captivated audiences with her fearless display of sensuality and her embrace of realism and fashion, which set her apart from other celebrities of her period. This allowed her to solidify her position as a symbol of sensuality and a trendsetter. A flurry of professional and personal experiences unfolded for her during her partnership with filmmaker Roger Vadim, whose picture And God Created the Woman catapulted her to the forefront of the business. Even though it was deeply passionate, her marriage did not last and was full of problems. This pattern of strong yet precarious relationships was one she never wavered from throughout her life. Personal life. Each of the 4 weddings that Bardot participated in was accompanied by its own unique set of challenges and scrutiny from the general public. Bardot's marriages were all distinctive from one another. Infidelity, misunderstanding, and the persistent invasion of privacy by the media were all problems that plagued her marriages to Jacques Charrier, Gunter Sachs, and Bernard Dormel. Her marriages to these 3 men were all plagued by problems. Her unions to Bernard Dormel were likewise fraught with difficulties throughout their duration. The unpleasant nature of each of these marriages was comparable to that of the others. Although Bardot was immersed in these intimate connections, She fought with intense emotions of inadequacy and uncertainty during her time in these partnerships. The romantic relationships she was involved in were accompanied by these sentiments. She regularly suffered from feelings of uncertainty over her looks, although she was widely considered to be one of the most beautiful women in the world because of her beauty. She acknowledged straightforwardly and honestly that she, along with everyone else, had always believed that I was unpleasant. She also admitted that she had always thought that I was unattractive. It was through this direct honesty that a truth that embraced everything was exposed. There is no way to change the reality that everyone, particularly those who are most adored, is capable of having emotions of insecurity within themselves. This is true regardless of how the public perceives us. The pressure that Bardot had to bear to preserve her reputation was one of the elements that had a role in the development of her mental health. She found herself struggling with episodes of despair and feelings of loneliness throughout her life as a direct result of the relentless attention she received from the media. Because of the persistent attention that she got, all of these sentiments became even more complicated. Bardot's candid insights were revolutionary and groundbreaking during a time when these topics were largely considered to be stuff that was considered to be forbidden. Through her openness, she provided a glimpse into the human side of the celebrity, which struck a chord with a significant number of people who had been quietly fighting with issues that were akin to those that she acknowledged to have been suffering. Bardot's perception of herself was profoundly altered as a result of the occurrences that took place during her time spent working in the film business. These experiences had a significant influence on her perspective. The persistent attention that she paid to her physical appearance was a significant factor that contributed to the fact that her self-esteem was connected to her attractiveness. During that particular time, she remarked, "I gave my youth and beauty to men," which encapsulated the perception of being exploited that she had encountered during her professional life. Even though Brigitte Bardot's career has been filled with a multitude of spectacular accomplishments, there are allegations that she has a connection with her only son, Nicolas, who is riddled with an extraordinary amount of trouble. In that period, she has found that this particular connection has been a source of friction for her. The birth of Nicolas, who was the product of her second marriage to the actor Jacques Charrière, was marked by ambivalence and volatility. Nicolas was born to her because of her second marriage. Moreover, Nicolas was brought into the globe. The fact that Bardot was so open about the difficulties she had throughout her pregnancy made it abundantly evident that she was going through a period of profound feelings of inadequacy and sorrow. On the other hand, she stated, "I am not yet ready to be an adult. No, becoming a mother was not in my destiny." Her sentiments were revealed, and she came clean about them. "It is a horrible thing to admit, but I am not an adult enough to be accountable for the care of a kid. I am not responsible for the child's care. I am well aware of how embarrassing it is to accept that this is the case." A strong representation of her thoughts was supplied by her autobiography, Initials BB, which was released in the year 1999. A great number of individuals were caught away by Bardot's honesty when she described how she felt as if she were sealing the lid of a coffin over her hopes as she glanced at her thin tummy. She expressed that she had the impression that she was putting an end to her dreams. Her attempts to terminate the pregnancy, which included thumping her stomach and requesting morphine from her doctor, were also a source of concern over the pregnancy. Both of these approaches were utilized in the process. These actions painted a clear image of what she was going through, which was a lot of psychological misery that she was going through at the time. Her relationship with Nicolas, which was already riddled with stress, was further complicated by the release of Initials BB in the year 1996. This gave an additional degree of difficulty to the relationship. The book provided a comprehensive description of her problematic marriage to Jacques Charrière, depicting him as a failed artist who found consolation in alcoholic drinks and gossip about his failures. The book also featured a thorough account of her marriage to Charrière. In addition to that, the novels contained a depiction of her challenging love relationship. Having been influenced by this representation, Charrière and Nicolas decided to look for legal resources in order to further their investigation. In order to compensate for the mental agony that was brought on by the revelations that were included in the book, they filed a lawsuit and demanded damages in the amount of more than £1 million. After the day, a French court issued an order that mandated that Bardot and her publisher pay fines, totaling £28,000, and that warning labels be affixed to specific sections of the book. Because Bardot was one of the most renowned women in the world, her legal team contended that she was entitled to freely discuss her life and that she should be allowed to do so. This occurred as a result of the fact that she was among the most well-known French ladies in the entire globe. On the other hand, the decision of the court brought to light the delicate balance that exists between the use of personal expression and the impact that is exerted on those who are directly engaged. During the court fight, the underlying difficulties that existed inside Bardot's family life became apparent. Bardot, who is of Norwegian origin, voiced her anguish at her mother's insults that were made against her in public while her father was there. The comment that Bardot made, which was upsetting, was that she would have liked to have the opportunity to give birth to a dog rather than that of a kid. Her scathing portrayal of Charrière, in addition to these comments, was a contributing factor in the growing gap that existed between the mother and her son. Although each one of the public conflicts comprised illegal acts, there were occasions in which there was reconciliation. In the 1990s, when Nicolas gave birth to his first child, Bardot, her son started working on mending their link. This was during the decade of the 1990s. This new chapter of my life as a grandmother performed an essential function like that of a bridge that assisted in the healing of some of the traumas that I had already experienced. The wounds are rather numerous and ancient. The flip side of the coin is that despite this, their relationship continued to be fraught with difficulties, such as prolonged spells of quiet and emotional isolation. The fact that Bardot is going through a tremendous amount of difficulty in her relationship with Nicolas serves as a striking reminder of the common challenges that many families are confronted with. The complexity of paternity, the influence of personal decisions on loved ones, and the difficulties of preserving familial relationships are all situations that a large number of people have faced and can personally relate to. Bardot's family life exemplifies the same types of relational challenges that a lot of individuals face daily, although she is famous and successful. It is interesting to note that Bardot's hesitation to accept motherhood is not an exceedingly rare occurrence, particularly in the entertainment industry. There have been several well-known people who have made public remarks regarding their choice to avoid having children. These statements have been made to call into question the expectations that society has for them, and to bring attention to the fact that there are many various ways in which one might come to the understanding that they are. Since these concepts are portrayed in Bardot's sentiments about children, it is evident that even icons struggle with the same personal decisions and societal pressures that everyone else does. The fact that this is the case illustrates that popularity is not the only factor that may put the strength of human associations to the test. It is clear from the circumstances that surrounded her existence that this is the case. The matter was exposed to further scrutiny and difficulty as a result of the fact that her life was much publicized. Nevertheless, the underlying issues are comprehensible, since Bardot provides a visual representation that is straightforward and authentic of the challenges that she faces in her life. Because of this, the fundamental problems are easier to understand. Not only does this vision strike a chord with those who have lived through comparable difficulties, but it also strikes a chord with the current state of affairs and the concerns of the wider public. It is becoming increasingly obvious that the general public is concerned about Brigitte Bardot's health and well-being. This is because she is growing closer and closer to the age of 90. As a result of her fragile looks and limited presence in public, her fans and close friends have experienced a tremendous deal of worry. However, in recent years, Bardot's visage has become progressively feeble, even though she was formerly regarded to be the most vivacious embodiment of French film. Although she has taken measures to remove herself from the public eye, Bardot continues to be a very interesting person. Over the past few years, Bardot has primarily withdrawn to her residence in Saint-Tropez, where she has become increasingly withdrawn. It is in this environment that she finds comfort in being surrounded by animals, whom she campaigns for with such a strong and unwavering commitment. In her life, she is no longer a part of the wild environs that she was accustomed to when she was at the height of her abilities. Every one of her sporadic appearances in public is met with an assault of attention and concern from folks who are concerned about her. People who are concerned about her behavior have not disregarded the move to a more private life, which is the reason why this is the case. Images that show her walking with help or being physically weak have contributed to the increasing amount of conjecture that has been done over her health. These pictures have been displayed in order to lend credence to the rumors. Bardot has been candid about the challenges that come with becoming older through the use of her own words. Bardot, for his part, asserts that he is aware of the fact that people are concerned about him, despite the fact that understanding this is a fact of life that each and every one of us must eventually come to terms with. As each year goes by, I find it increasingly challenging to acknowledge that I am getting older. Regardless of her notoriety or status, it is a universal reality that a great number of people can identify with and connect to. As a further illustration of this universal reality, the fact that she does not shy away from discussing the challenges she is encountering as she gets older is encouraging. The actress's mobility and quality of life in general have been significantly impacted by both respiratory problems and osteoarthritis, which are both conditions that affect the respiratory system. Throughout her career, the actress has struggled with a variety of health conditions, including osteoarthritis and respiratory difficulties. In comparison to the general population, the aged population has a much greater prevalence of a variety of health problems throughout the population. The fact that Bardot is prepared to investigate them is laudable, since each of them provides insight into a human experience that is shared by all people. As a result of her actions, the public has been appreciative of her for a considerable amount of time, and she continues to challenge them, bringing them closer to the public. Through a variety of avenues such as emails given from the heart and postings made on social media platforms, friends and admirers join together to make their support and concern for one another known to one another. The fact that Bardot has maintained a relationship with her audience despite her retirement from public life is demonstrated by this display of affection, which suggests that she maintains an intimate connection with her audience. The fact that she is concerned about her health goes beyond the conventional bond that exists between a fan and a star. On the contrary, it displays a deeper and more fundamental sense of empathy and unity. Bardot's reflections on age and health humanize her and make her a more relatable figure by displaying that she battles with the same issues and vulnerabilities as everyone else. This makes her more approachable. Her perspectives on the inevitability of aging and the necessity of embracing it are in agreement with those of a senior population that is confronted with realities that are analogous to her own experiences. The general public has expressed concerns for Bardot's mental and emotional well-being, in addition to her physical health. These concerns have been voiced by the general public. She has been subjected to a significant amount of the past throughout her life, since she has led a life that has been filled with both adulation and controversy. She finds solace in her work with animals, which is a love that has helped her get through many challenges in her life. Although Bardot has voiced sentiments of solitude and unhappiness with the world, she finds comfort in her work with animals. The unwavering commitment that she has shown to the cause of animal rights is what continues to give her a feeling of purpose and a sense of success. She has shown that she is committed to the cause. Numerous people continue to find inspiration in this facet of her life because they feel that her defense is a manifestation of her obstinate spirit and their compassion for other people. This is the reason why they continue to be inspired by this component of her life. Throughout the course of Bardot's journey through the complexity of her latter years, she emerges as a touching reminder of the hardships that come with becoming older daily. Her experience sheds light on the common human experience of growing older, and the fact that she deals with health difficulties matches her fears and desires, showing her enormous and long-lasting effect on the world. Her experience shines a light on the shared human experience of growing older. The present condition of Brigitte Bardot and the public's worry for her health are two instances that highlight the constant relationship that exists between a celebrity and the people who follow her career. Both of these examples focus on the public's concern for her health. The attention that the general population has paid to her health is seen in these examples. As a result of the fact that her life has been full of both beautiful highs and lows as well as deep lows, her narrative is a perfect illustration of perseverance, vulnerability, and unyielding desire. Her presence exemplifies the entirety of the human experience throughout history. Brigitte Bardot's legacy and effect. It is quite astounding how Brigitte Bardot has left behind such a tremendous legacy. She has been a source of inspiration for a great number of generations and has had a significant influence on society as a whole. There is no denying the substantial impact that Bardot has had on the film industry. She contributed a distinct combination of sensuality and reality to the roles that she portrayed, which earned her the reputation of being one of the most important personalities in French Nouvelle Vague films. Her ability to captivate viewers with her captivating personality and undiluted skill is seen in several films, including God Created, The Woman, Despise, and Long Live Mary, to name just a few instances. As a result of her resistance to the traditional portrayals of women in film, she paved the way for female characters who were more free-spirited and involved in more complicated relationships. Those who were inspired by her audacious actions and her distinctive style, as well as a large number of actors and directors, have made her a lasting icon of cinema inventiveness and the power that women have in the film business. Bardot's transition into animal rights advocacy is yet another crucial chapter in her life, in addition to the achievements she has achieved in the film business. 1973 was the year that she decided to give up her acting career to dedicate her whole focus to the cause of animal welfare. The decision that she made to leave the glamorous world of Hollywood to advocate for animals was perhaps one of the most daring things she has ever done in her career. In 1986, she formed the Brigitte Bardot Foundation, which is an organization that is dedicated to protecting animals from being mistreated or exploited because of their condition. In addition to enhancing human care and providing financial support to a wide range of animal welfare projects all around the world, the foundation has also made contributions to the development of legislation that safeguards animal rights. As a result of Bardot's advocacy, the general public's knowledge of animal rights has been significantly impacted for a long time. As a direct result of her efforts, a great number of individuals have gained a greater awareness of the need for animal conservation and have been inspired to become involved in the protection of animals. The unrelenting efforts that Bardot's foundation continues to make to improve the lives of animals, despite the difficulties that they are confronted with, are a reflection of the commitment and perseverance that these individuals possess. Bardot has been a staunch champion of the values of freedom, sincerity, and compassion, and people all across the world feel a great connection to these concepts. The fact that she is not afraid to voice her opinions on controversial topics and that she is unyielding in her dedication to her views has earned her respect and affection, even among those who may not share all of her perspectives. A powerful reminder that everyone has the potential to make major contributions to the world, regardless of the challenges they are presented with. Bardot's life narrative, which is full of personal tribulations and successes, serves as a compelling reminder of this fact. Not only does she have a tremendous enthusiasm for art, but she also has a deep passion for fashion and social customs. The aspects that finally contributed to the resetting of beauty standards were her natural look and easygoing attitude, both of which continue to affect people even to this day. As a result of her brave choices and unwavering determination, a great number of others have been inspired to accept themselves as they are and to advocate for the values that they hold dear. In spite of the difficulties and obstacles that she has faced, Bardot has made contributions that are truly remarkable. The legacy she leaves behind is a patchwork of the multiple roles she played as an activist, symbolizer, and performer. In conclusion, Brigitte Bardot's legacy is a demonstration of the numerous contributions she made to the world throughout her lifetime and the indelible mark she left on it. She illustrates the power of resilience and the relevance of being faithful to the ideas that she holds dear throughout her journey, which has been marked by both remarkable achievements and personal disappointments. In addition to serving as a source of inspiration, the life of Bardot draws our attention to the reality that every single person, regardless of the difficulties they encounter, has the potential to leave behind a legacy that will endure and make a difference in the world. Let us know which portions of Bardot's life struck a chord with you the most. We would appreciate it if you would like, comment, and subscribe to our channel so that you may receive further motivational tales and insights.